morning to you. We are happy to have you here this wonderful Friday morning. And I'm sure your day is going, well, it's about to start and it will definitely be a great one. Welcome to Panorama on Splash 26.7 FM. My name is Mariam Ogunremi. On Panorama, what we do is to give you in-depth analysis on issues that concerns each and every one of us. Issues that is of utmost importance, not just to individuals, but also to Nigeria as a country. And also, if you are joining us for the very first time, this program is divided into two segments. The first segment, we call it Issue of the Day, while the second segment, we call it From the Pages. That's where we go through the front page of Nigerian days. And a lot of things are unfolding in the country called Nigeria. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things that, is worth our discussion. A lot of things that we need to pay attention to, especially as we move towards the election year, talking about 2023. And just this morning, I saw something and I was like, okay, what does that mean? And it's on the front page of Vanguard talking about presidency saying that ministers who fail to resign on the, to resign on their own, according to them, maybe they will do something, maybe they are trying to seek something or they are going to work on that. But when the time comes, we will definitely talk about that on the program.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that the word resignation is in our political lexicon because up until now, we shy away from that conversation. When we talk about ministers retiring, resigning, or, political holders resigning, it doesn't really happen. So now that everywhere, the political space is agog with, resignation, I'm surprised because I never knew it was part of our lexicon, our political lexicon.
Oh, well, I think what we should also add to it is the fact that in Nigeria, we don't resign to go back home. We resign to move from a particular position to another, maybe a greater level. Because if ministers are resigning now, it's because they are vying for one post or the other in the coming election. So it's not like we resign and we go home and, relax and be taken care of.
Okay, well, let's get into the program this morning. And we start off, like Miriam rightly said, with our issue of the day. And we'll segue later on to the second segment of the program, which we call From the Pages. Stay with us. From time immemorial, religion, just like ideology, differs. What is declared as faith to some might be a form of hypocrisy to others. What is said to be the doctrine of a religious belief might be a no-go area for others. This does not make a religious belief inferior to another. Instead, it shows that there is beauty in diversity and not just unity.
In Nigeria, some ethnic groups are believed to be more to one side, while the rest are closer to the other side of the divide, with a bit of traditionalism in the middle of the two major religions, which are Christianity and Islam. These various beliefs have been coexisting for years, with none being a hindrance to the other, though there have been a few religious conflicts in the past. These conflicts can be traced as far back as 1953.
At the beginning of the millennium, a few cases believed to be perpetrated by extremists started surfacing in the country. These cases are mostly bordered on blasphemy, which has led to the attack of individuals who are said to have said things against the Holy Prophet Muhammad. An example of such is the beheading of Gideon Akalukam in 1996 in Kano. Also in Kano in 2016, a trader, Bridget Agbehime, was killed in Kano. Christiana Oluwatosin, Florence Chukwu, Abdullahi Umar, Methodist Chiameje, to mention but a few.
On Thursday, May 12th, in Sokoto, a female student of the Shehu Shagari College of Education was mocked and burnt by some students of the school for allegedly insulting Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This has become one case too many. Today on our issue of the day on Panorama, we shall be taking a look at religious extremism in Nigeria. And we have joining us in the studio, Alhaji Alaran Mushafau Kehinde is a former leader of Muslim Students Association of Nigeria, BZON. Is also former leader of Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, BISON, is also an imam of the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being here.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let's quickly get into it now. I want to have your take on the events that happened yesterday. So, in your words, how would you describe the events that unfolded yesterday in Sokoto State?
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that the result of what has happened was for the lady to have been murdered, to have been killed, burnt, and that act perfectly is un-Islamic. And there are a lot of things to back it in Islamic jurisprudence that you need not to kill a person. First of all, is the punishment that Allah will levy on his creatures. A man should not put it on any human being, except it's from Allah. Be that as it may, I went into getting the detail of what has transpired at that end, that it was about the issue of indiscipline, the issue of what we can call sectionalism. Unfortunately, if it were to be person from any of the other ethnic group, it would have been another thing entirely. That lady is an Hausa. She's an Hausa lady from a tribe in Kebbi State. So she's schooling in that college of education. What I gathered pertaining to that incident is that it has been a recurring desma. The issue starts from the way we use this social media, the act of indiscipline that is pervading in the social media, whereby we create a platform for a purpose, and people start to drop issues pertaining to their careers. People are fond of dropping this and that are not relevant in that regard. So when she saw that, she passed comments some times ago, and there was responses to her. At the end of the day, she went ahead to abuse and to rain curse on the religion and what they have been posted. What they are posting is about the religion,
right,
on that platform. But she detested it, and she wanted everybody to be disciplined in that regard. But people do not listen to her. So the first time, she uttered a very big statement as far as they are concerned, that people have to say, it is on, the recorded voice was sent to me. Well, I make inquiry from that end. I have a link over there. What has actually transpired? They said she was warned the first time not to have uttered a blasphemy statement against the prophet. So they left it. They settled the first case. They be that as it may, the issue continued to reoccur. Now she cannot stomach it again. Then she now came out in a big time to abuse the privacy of my father. May the privacy of your parents be caused. So now spell it. She said, Holy Ghost fire. What is the big deal about what this thing you are Buroban that she caused the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That was the genesis of the problem. They have stomached it in the first time, and the second time she repeated it, and then they cannot curtail their anger. At the end of the day, they have to look. That was how the whole story started. That is a perception. But in the reality, when we come to the position of our religion, it is not okay for anybody to be decimated, to be killed in the way and manner that lady has been killed and burnt in fire. The position that ultimately have to be maintained is that when such an event happens, it has to be taken to those who are religious scholars to intervene into the affairs,
right,
and then come out with a mild punishment, so that it will serve, eventually continue to serve as a deterrent to the person another who may likely want to commit that kind of whatever that has happened.
All right, you talk about consulting scholars now so that they can mete out a mild punishment to the person in a situation whereby there is blasphemy. You will also remember that recently there was a particular singer that got sentenced to death. According to them, it is according to their Sharia law, or because he blasphemed the Holy Prophet, Muhammad. And now, how mild is that? Because according to, what they've been saying now, the Sharia law is derived from the Quran, from the Holy Quran.
Yes.
So how mild can we say that is? Because, the singer, they said he sang a song that is, blasphemy in nature, and because of that, he was sentenced to death. So what is the relationship or the correlation between what the Holy Quran said and the Sharia law?
Sentencing, it will not have been the way out. Rather, some of things that can be met out is for those persons to be jailed, for at least for some time. Number one, to down the tension. Number two, to make that person to realize what he has done. Because in actual sense, when you look at the Quran has a position about the issue of blasphemy. Look at Quran chapter 6, verse 108. Let me read it.
Sure.
Where Allah said, and insult not those whom the disbeliever worship besides Allah, lest they insult Allah wrongfully without knowledge. Thus we have made fear seeming to each people its own doings. Then to their Lord is their return, and he shall then inform them of all that they used to do. It is a condemned act. The firstly, Muslim must not abuse, must not cause or send a derogatory words to what other people worship, because in return, so that they will not come around to cause or pass a derogatory word to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe. So when it's happened that way, like what I've said earlier on, is to make a report, and the report will not be for the person to have been sentenced to death. What you do is to find a lead way for the person to realize what he has done and to down the tension within the community.
Okay.
So that at the long run, the judge, the Qadi will have to appeal to the sense of all and sundry that this is the best way to address the issue, and not people taking the law to their hand. Those who have committed that act, in the least sense, they should be termed murderer in the Islamic jurisprudence, because they don't have the right to take the law to their land. What they have to do is to extend it to those who have been given the right of adjudication, to make adjudication in that case. But the one you have cited now, I may not know the extent to which it has gone, that has led the judge to have passed a death sentence on that person. But it depends on how it is. It depends, because most of the time we are not seeing the premises, but we are seeing the conclusion. It's only people are jumping into conclusion, but you don't know the extent to which he has caused devastating matter within the community. So if he has been warned severally that he has refused to yield to the warning, this thing you are doing is not okay. Understand? The whole thing is that if it is Islamic community, the person can be banished and made to go to another clan, rather than continuing. If he has been so recalcitrant in the issue that is prevailing, he can be banished, go to another place where what you are saying will be accommodated.
Right. I want to come in now, and I want you to follow me through this line of thoughts. Some people would say that the ulama, the clerics,
The council of
yes, they should do more in re-educating this misguided set of people that committed this barbaric act yesterday. And usually these people hide under the guise of what is called, if I'm not mistaken, jihad, which is a holy war. Now, correct me also if I'm wrong, but the jihad, according to the Quran, states that, well, it's an internal struggle, an internal war in yourself, conforming to the principles and the guidelines in the Quran, and not really a physical war. But this sort of misdirected people, think that, well, it is not that way. It is not an internal war. It is a physical war. So in what way has the clerics, been able to direct these people in the right way, in the right manner, for them to see these things as, the truth?
Well, the ulama that you have mentioned, they are trying their best to ensure that this thing is not. I remember during the life of one of the sultan, about 3 or 4 sultanates there. I was born there. I live in Sokoto for some time. At least I passed my about 9 or 10 years before I came down to my father's land. Then I realized when these people were about attacking the non-indigens, it was that sultan that came out defending the non-indigen, that you cannot have development except non-indigen come around to assist you. They have what they are bringing to you. You have what you have. When you exchange, you mix it up with what you have, what they are bringing with what. That's when we can have a meaningful development within our community. It downs a lot of tension while he was on throne. Even I could recall too, the present sultan is doing his best to ensure that there is unification in no ramification. Every day, I do watch some of the preaching of their leaders, the ulama that you have said. I have been seeing that some of the preaching are directed toward unification, toward making everybody to have an egalitarian society that is peaceful, that is devoid of rancor and some other things. But there are some things that we've gathered, and based on experience, my parents who left a very high number of years there, I argue with my uncle, a junior brother to my father. I argue with him on issues. He said, what we know you don't know. The way these people are behaving. Some of the hooligans among them, some of non-entity among them, they know next to nothing. It is they who are head-bent in puppet. Their understanding is this barbarian.
The alleged, can I come in here now? You said those ones who perpetrated this act, this heinous act, no next to nothing, uneducated. Well, those ones who committed the act yesterday, are educated.
Yes.
They are students of a higher tertiary institution.
It is useful exuberance. It is useful exuberance.
So this time around, it is not uneducated people, but useful exuberance.
It is not uneducated. It is what has been on ground that they are reclining on. Remember, it is what has been on ground that they have inherited, that these scholars are trying to change, to modify now. But it is not a day job. The conception to change a heart from what it has passed, from the perception, it will take time before you get your result. If you are genuinely doing what you have to do, it's not a day work. So that is because that is what has been prevailing. It cannot be happen in a day, because what I have seen is that some of them are trying their best to give an egalitarian society, but unfortunately, we cannot rule out certain things out. Is the political and social factor within the perception politically and socially is still what we have to fight against in order for them to have this thing established. We have the elite, we have the downtrodden, and we now have their culture. So this thing has been embedded in their culture. To now ward it up, it has to take time before it can actually be established for anybody to have a right thinking and to absorb that everybody is one and equal.
Okay, you mentioned their culture now. Some people would say that when you go to the north, the culture that they practice is Islamic culture, and which means that they understand the Holy Quran. That's why they practice Islamic culture. So can we now say that the initial doctrine of Islam in the north, it wasn't as in-depth as it's supposed to be when it comes to leading one's life according to the Holy Quran?
Well, there are a lot of misconceptions by virtue. You know, Islam came to them. They have original culture. They are trying to imbibe the culture of Islam. Like we are here, they are not different from us. When you X-ray us, this environment, you have a lot of things prevailing within our environment. That, for instance, we have our cultural identity that is binding. We have the religion, the Islam and religion and Christianity. You know, the fight for superiority, the struggle for entrenchment of that faith is what is trying to ward off our cultural heritage, maybe the aspect that are unethical. So the same thing is prevailing with them over there. Despite those facts that you say it is about Sharia, there are some non-entity among them who still inherited those cultural valueless ideas that pervade them, and they try to disseminate it to others. And whoever has imbibed it, you see them acting in that direction. But those who are elite among them, we relate with them. We know what they are what the what is, and we know how they behave among us. And we know what we have corrected among them pertaining to their cultural heritage. This thing is still affecting to some extent. It has not been totally warded up, as you have said.
Let's go on a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about this elites you've been mentioning. And let's see how, they've been able to ward off this extremist actions around Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is Panorama on Splash 1067.
Splash FM 106.7.
Overjara no the body, it's plenty. Overjara no the dry pocket. Overjara no the way, it's plenty. If you want 8 times, the value to flex. If you know to give you Overjara. Enter Overjara, see the charge will give you Overjara.
Value of charge with data. Smart Network.
Patami. He is the Minister, of course, of Communication and Digital Economy. Some regard his comments he made a while back as pro-extremist comments. He was asked to resign by a couple of people. A lot of people asked him to resign. He didn't resign. He also didn't step down. The government, the president, didn't ask him also to resign. Nobody in government, asked him to resign from that position. Now, some would say that doesn't this prove that the Nigerian state is sympathetic to extremism?
Well, when you look at that issue, it is not a current issue. Isa Pantami has uttered that statement in his days in the university, in his day as a youth. He has gone through a lot of things. When he uttered, it was not a current issue. People revert to what he has sent. It may not be less than 10 years ago that such an incident has happened. People now brought it now.
He was over 30. Someone who is over 30. Someone who is over 30. You wouldn't consider that person as, uttering a statement out of youthful exuberance, like you rightly said.
Well, where you see, it's like the training about religion. People tend to be more, how do I put it? When it starts, by the time you come in contact, if you absorb a religion now, your way, in order to jettison what you have been coming from, you tend to be more aggressive than normal. Go and look at the statistics of those who, if I join Christianity today, if a Christian become a Muslim today, go and look at how aggressive they are going to be. And they get things to their senses in an abnormal way. Understand? After some time, you get to try to make them to balance their thinking, their horizon. That was what has happened to Isa Pantami. It's not just a current event. So there and then, he has gone far and wide. He would have seen for himself what has wrong with his position. The position he has made as at that time was not normal, was an abnormal position to have made. Then if people now try to crucify him based on what he has done number of years ago, of what is Isa Pantami then, who is he now? Who is Isa Pantami then? Who is he now? You judge according to the experience he has gotten from the period he has uttered that statement. Is even what he is known. Maybe you will have seen it.
Nigeria is a volatile state. Nigeria is in a volatile state because of religious extremism.
Okay.
And a minister made that particular statement. It is obvious to so many people that minister should step down because of how volatile the situation in Nigeria is.
Did he make that statement when he was a minister? That's the question we should ask. Is he a current issue that is boiling? If everybody have his own past, let's look at our individual past. When you look at your past, you try to look at some things that are wrong with your past, then you now say, in the past I've committed this error.
Right.
Within you, you know that is an error. When you get a more advanced knowledge or a more advanced position than what you know before, the level at which the knowledge is what has taken him to that extremism. Now you will have realized, then do you now prosecute him for what he has done unknowingly?
So he has repented of his sins now.
If he has repented, do you now prosecute him? Is everybody not committing excesses? When we arrive, do you not go to God to forgive us? So it will not make you want to punish him. He was not a minister when he uttered that statement. I still stand on that. Then now as a minister, look at him. What has he done that has pushed him to the pedestal of that can be termed where he can be termed as a terrorist? You have to look at it critically. Then you form your judgment on the basis of the current issue. Look at those who are around him. What is this? Is he discriminating religiously and some other things? If you look at the way he's acting, then we can make down to the basis that we want to pass our judgment on him.
Okay, now I want us to also take a look at something. Also, let me say real quick that somebody on Facebook, okay, Emmanuel Akintoday on Facebook is saying, please help me ask our guest that are we using Sharia law in Nigeria or we are using Nigeria law? Are we now in Mecca? That's what Emmanuel said, which also is going to lead me to this question that I'm going to ask you real quick. And the question is that if we take a look at Sharia law now, well, according to them, is derived from, the Holy Quran. Now, if you take a look at Sharia law, which do you think should be, should be superior to the other? Should it be the Sharia law or the Nigerian Constitution one? And also, the Sharia law, since we are in Nigeria, even if we are going to make use of Sharia law, is it not supposed to be, in tandem with the constitution of the country? Because I know in Christianity they will say, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That is, obey, if you are, obey all authority. Okay, that's what I want to use. There's a particular passage in the Bible that says that obey all authority, which means that if you are in a country, you must act according to the rules and regulations of that country, which I don't know if it is in the Holy Quran. I'm not familiar with the Holy Quran. So I want you to answer that question. Is the Sharia law not supposed to be in tandem with what we have in our constitution?
Let's be guided by history. When the colonial master came down, they met our own environment here to be a disorganized environment. Remember, the Obas sold us into slavery with just glass and shinap. When the colonial master got to the north, they found them to have been established on Sharia. They made a retreat because they can enter into north. Yeah, we were sold. Our Obas sold us with a mere, you give them 20 slaves to get one sword. You give them 40 slaves to get one gun. When they got to the north, they could enter because actually they found Sharia established in that place. They made a retreat. Then when they want to give us independence, that is why they are claiming upper hand over every other tribe. To that they have the Sharia. When they are bringing the constitution, they realize their system and they place it in Sharia court appeal, and so even the Naira, it is only Obasanjo that came around to change the figure, the Arabic figure. They found them established on the basis of Arabic. Their governance, the system they are using to govern themselves is on the basis of Sharia. They have adopted Arabic. That's why you have Naira Goma, Naira Amsin, Naira. Those things were written in Arabic on our Naira. Because of them, the colonial master found them to be established. And when they are going, according to a lot of things that we read in history, they said, you handle governance. Let the Southerners, let them handle economy. So the colonial master recognized the Sharia that has been established in that north. So whether people like this or not, they have organized before the colonial master came. So the colonial master embedded the culture of that Sharia in our constitution. Whatever is in the constitution, it is not everything about Sharia that was placed in the constitution, but the constitution recognized that Sharia as a basis of their governance in the north. The role played by Usman Danfodio and some other his chronics is there for anybody to rule. We are not in a Sharia state because we have amalgamated Nigeria, the north and the south. So we need to some extent respect whatever everybody is doing. If I am the north, I have to respect to some extent. I have the right to live in the north. They equally have the right to live here. But whatever is predominate has to be respected and have to be abidable to some extent without jeopardizing the right of anybody.
Okay, let's go down quickly. Lastly, touch on this, and it has to do with interfaith diplomacy. How would interfaith diplomacy, prove useful, to ending this issue of extremism in Nigeria?
Number one is respect of the dignity of everybody. We must respect our dignity. We must respect our faith. As a Muslim, I must respect the Christian faith. As a Christian, you must not say you want to dominate in all ramification. You must be concerned about myself and some other people as a Muslim. That is the first thing. People, when we get to garden, look at the community. They said, Ife. Where is that Ife? When we sit here, we take decision on something. Some people will go back and say, this is the way we have to do it. Turning things around. When I realize, will I use Ife love? Will I share love with those who have betrayed me? We need to understand that all of us are created by God. And we are to live together. If I could, Allah said in Quran, if I so wish, I will have make you a one single community. But because what I have decided must come to pass, that is why I make it to be different. We must accept that differences among ourselves. Number 3, the non-Muslim have the right to live in the north because we remain in even if they are Islamic state, the non-Muslim have the right to live in an Islamic state. In the prophet that we follow, allow non-Muslim to live within the Islamic culture and within the Islamic state. They have the law. They will abide to some extent. They have their right that they can claim under Islamic law. And those people in the north must realize that they must respect the right of others to live within them, whether by omission or commission, whether by mistake or whatever. It is banned because they cannot. The tendency projected by the God Almighty does not allow anybody to live lonely. There's no country in the world that you get to that you not find other people, even if they are minority. You always find people of other religion. That must be respected in no ramification. If Islam dominates, they must respect non-Muslim. If Christianity dominates, they must respect the Muslim, and the others. That is only way we can live together as a peaceful community.
All right, it's time for us to open the studio lines so that you can be a part of the program. If you have any question for our guests on the program this morning, you've heard all we've discussed about religious extremism in Nigeria. What's your take on the response given by Alaran Mushafau Kehinde on the program this morning? So if you have any question for him, feel free to call 0704 400 1067, 0704 400 1067, or you call 0817 555 1067, or you call 0705 050 1067. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp 0817 555 1067. Also join us on Facebook Live. Drop your comment in the comment section, and please do all you can to be civil when it comes to dropping your comments in the comment section. There is Adeni Abiodun Oluwaseun. Your comment is uncivilized, so please be civil when you're dropping your comment in the comment section to be a part of the program. It is very, very important to respect, whoever we have on the program, respect the station, and also do all you can to respect yourself as well.
Not just those, via the social media handles, but as well as those who are trying to call us in. You have to be civil. We know it's a very sensitive subject, so please try to be civil so we don't cut you off. Please. 0817 555 1067. Talk to us.
Hello, good morning. Turn down the volume on your radio set. It's important. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Abiodun. I'm calling from Malaysia.
All right, Abiodun, go ahead.
Please, I appreciate everyone in the studio, plus the Alaji. He has really done justice to clarify things. But I just want to ask him that, why is it that most times when it comes to religious violence, it's always applicable to the Muslims? It's very, very rare before we hear such cases whereby Christians talk about blaspheming about Jesus Christ, whereas these things has always occurred, but they don't actually take it up like that. So I would like him to clarify that, why it's always, or should I say most times, the Muslims that takes it up.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your question. We'll put the questions together so that he can answer them at once. So 704 400 1067. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning.
Uzo, good morning. Good morning, Ustaz.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Olabode Adegun is my name. Uzo, let me react a quick one to what you said earlier. You see, that someone is a student of an higher institution of learning doesn't automatically translate them, their scores to being invulnerable to fanatical and extreme mentality. Evaluate a sizable number of the ISIS, the Hezbollah, and all these international terrorist organizations. So they are well schooled, even in Western education. In fact, many of them are American bred. Yet you find them being at the vanguard, championing the atrocities of these terrorist organizations worldwide. So extremism is one complex thing. It's a global phenomenon. Unlike the last caller said, it cuts across religion. I will cite you an example now, not peculiar to Islamic. It's not a monopoly of Islamic religion alone. Plus, extremism is a multifaceted thing. So extremism could be tribal, ethnical in nature, and there could be political extremism as well. So, secondly, as a Muslim, I condemn in totality all these heinous crime of the students. What the poor girl must have done, regardless. Jungle justice has no place in Islam. All this overzealous insanity all in the name of religion must stop. The leaders must start speaking up openly and lambasting all these heinous acts. And lastly, as much as we are condemning it, please, let's be guided. Please, that we incite inter-religious conflict. We should stay away from it. Let me cite an example, like what the last caller said. I was not part of the congregation some years back at the University of Ibadan in the mosque, but someone that was there really narrated, a first-hand this thing to me. They were in the middle of the prayer, Jumat prayer for that matter. I was at the last, imagine when they were in the prayer, just imagine that kind of silence. And one lady came and just stood up when in the middle of that prayer and shouted, "Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior." How do you take that? Many times we'll be in the mosque very early in the morning, that Subi prayer, you will find some people ringing the bell, and deliberately they will stand in the front of the mosque shouting, "Accept Jesus as your Lord." See, all these things must stop. And again, on the back of this, I've been seeing people posting all these
wrap up now, please.
I'm wrapping up already. I'm sorry about that. Posting some Islamic quotations mischievously. So please, all this must stop. If you don't understand this thing, don't just take it.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Olabode Adigun, for your contribution on the program. 0704 400 1067, 0704 400 1067, 0817 555 1067. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and also on Twitter. On Twitter, remember to use hashtag Panorama on Splash. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Alaran calling from Augusta.
All right.
What happened yesterday was really heartbreaking. Although that is not the first time it's happening. And that is the more reason we have to take quick action so that we don't experience things like this. We don't even need things like this to happen in this country. We should be more united. And I think our religious leaders have a lot when it comes to this. Be it Christian, be it Muslim, our religious leaders have a lot to do. Now, I want to bring this to the notice of the guests and then ask my three questions. My own belief is this.
Olabode, you have 1 minute, so your 1 minute is almost up.
This is Afolabi.
Okay, Afolabi, you already have 1 minute, so. And your 1 minute is almost up, so wrap up.
Oh, please, I will this Islam or Christianity, these religions were brought to us. They were not our predominant way of life. So, I want to ask the first person, do you believe that religion is man-made and it has not reflected what God represents? Then, do you also think that we should have a rethink on religion in this country? And then, lastly, do you believe that we should take religion out of government or governance of this country because it has been a problem and it's becoming a monster? So those are my questions. I'm not referring it to any religion, but generally.
0704 400 1067, 0817 555 1067. Hello, good morning. Good morning. This will be the last call so that he can attend to the questions. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your radio set is loud. You have to turn it down, please.
Let's try to call us back. 0817 555 1067, 0817 444 1067.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This morning. I'm not trying to be sentimental. But why is that some people feel that they can fight for God? When the God himself is a strong man, but the young baby that they chose and born to act it, does it mean that it is the rule of Islam that probably if anything goes wrong, you have to take action before God? And according to Yoruba, they say, you cannot fight for God. It's not a living God. Why is it like that? It's in the rule of Islam. That's my question.
Okay, thank you, Big Daddy, for your contribution to the program this morning. So, Ustaz, you want to...
Well, from Abiodun, Islam does not have the epitome of violence. Every person protects his religion when it comes to issue of what we call injustice and some other things. When people react, you see it as a violence. Not only Muslims that react in that way. The Christians do react too. It may be civil, it may not tend to be civilized, but it's a reaction. In Ogun State, when people are fighting for hijab, they took the matter to the court. The Christians assembled themselves and they went against that hijab in the court. Is that not violent? In the court of law, here in Abeokuta, we studied for it for a long time. Everybody, every religion has the way it protrudes itself in violent way. It may be civilized, but to some it will not be a civilized way. Everybody is trying to protect his faith. It depends on the way you highlight it. But it will not be to the detriment of the peaceful coexistence. It will not be to the detriment of peaceful coexistence. Olabode Adegun, I appreciate you. Yours is to buttress what I have said. And the issue of Ibadan, too, that you mentioned, is a big issue. If it were to be from the other faith, they will have escalated it to beyond necessity. The leadership of the Muslim community in UI then, they know how they play the smart. I mean, they suppress the hunger from the youth. It will have turned to another thing. In the mosque, not outside. For somebody to be so bold when they are praying, in Juma's prayer, you know, it tends to send an act of intolerance within the religious group. I'm not being biased, but the Muslim community in UI, they suppress that activity that time, and that's why it has not led to something. People will look at it. It's just like some, because I'm in that environment as at that time. It's just like a mere thing that will happen. Let's forget about it.
So we'll quickly have to wrap it up. So could you just go through the
three Avolabi that predominant way of life is when you talk about that we have our culture, whether we have our culture and everybody is looking for the ways to salvation. If you are convinced that what you are taking is your way to salvation, then so be it. Muslims are convinced that with the Quran is the way to salvation. Christians are convinced that with the Bible is the way to salvation. So be it. When we get to God, we don't have doubt because there are a lot of inscription in the scripture that tend to tell you where you are and what will be the result of what you are doing. Then that we should remove religion from politics. Let me just tell you the fact. The democracy we are practicing is Christian based. It was brought, the white men introduced to us based on Christianity. Then the democracy we are copying from America has some element of religion in it. So there is no way you can remove religion from politics. They are interwoven. What we need to do is to play it maturely and not to discriminate. To give the right, respect the right of everybody within the confine of what we are practicing as a way of governing people. Then the last Big Daddy, we should not fight for God. To some extent, you defend the right of God from humanity. That if I go by the detail of our religion, that is why Allah said, the verse I've quoted, Quran chapter 6, verse 108. Go and read what God have said about that. Do not abuse other people's God, so that they will not abuse Allah. They will not abuse the creator of the world and heaven. So to some extent, you can not to the detriment of other, not to cause
we
some
really
rancor. Thank you very much.
All right, let's say a big thank you to Alaran Mushafau Kehinde, former leader of Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, B-Zone, and also the Imam, Neuropsychiatric Hospital. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming around. We'll move into the second segment of Panorama shortly, but you have to stay with us to enjoy that.
Splash FM 106.7.
Hello.
Àǹtí mi, ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ o, ó ti wọlé.
Dúró ná, ó ti lóyún àbí?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni o, mo ti lóyún.
Olúwa ṣeun o. Rántí o gbọ́dọ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìtọ́jú oyún ní kíákíá nílé ìwòsàn ni o. Sọ fún wọn pé kí wọ́n fún ẹ ní nǹkan tí wọ́n ń pè ní sulfadoxine pyrimethamine tó bá ti tó àsìkò láti gbà á.
Sulfadoxine pyrimethamine ó lè pè ní SP ó ní oògùn ibà fáwọn aláboyún má fẹlẹ yìí ṣeré rárá o nítorí ọmọ tó wà nínú rẹ̀ àrùn ibà ò ṣeé ṣeré o lẹ́yìn náà rí i dájú pé o sùn sínú àwọn apẹ̀fọn tá a ti ró lágbára láti dáàbò bo ara rẹ̀ darapọ̀ mọ́ ìpolongo àrùn ibà pòfó bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú mi nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ká lè jọ dẹ́kun àrùn ibà fún orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà tí kò ní àrùn ibà kó ipa tirẹ̀. Ìkéde yìí wá látọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà pẹ̀lú àjọṣepọ̀ àwọn àjọ tó ń gbógun ti àrùn ibà.
eléyìí gángan dùn bá a bá ṣe báyìí á dùn ní iléeṣẹ́ Atlayo Estate and Homes Limited àǹfààní yìí kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ ilẹ̀ oníkẹ̀gàn àti ilẹ̀ ìyànàgún fanti randa 150,000 ní bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní òbúrò àwòkú ládìrín extension akíjọ́rìlàlà ilẹ̀ Atlayo Glorious Point Estate náà ń ta wàràwàrà. adùn ibẹ̀ gan ni wípé ẹni méje mìíràn yóò tún fi ọ̀kadà ṣe ìfàjẹ́ lórí àwọn ilé wọn ẹ ṣá máa gba rìsíìtì ilé oko wọn alábàtẹ̀rìnlẹ̀ ìṣìún múlọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ kọ́bàpẹ́ 30,000 ní plọ̀tì ń bẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ilé oko wọn tó wà ní pàkúté lọ́ba dá oko 35,000 ní plọ̀tì ń bẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹ gba ìdajì sí i bó sì jẹ́ éèkàlẹ́rà ẹ gbòdìdì sí i àwọn onímọ̀ sì ti wà ńlẹ̀ láti ṣàlàyé fún yín lórí oko tí ò bọ́ oko yín mu lọ́lọ́ báyìí ẹni yòówù tó bá ti ra ilé oko níléeṣẹ́ Atlayo ẹ máa tọ́jú rìsíìtì yín torí pé ẹni márùn-ún ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ náà fi ọ̀kadà ṣèpàjẹ́ 30 ilé ìjàlódébú Lagos Abeokuta expressway lọ́nà tó lọ sí Biori láfẹ̀wá Abeokuta 08138454500 08138454500. ó yá àǹfààní yìí kò gbọdọ̀ pẹ́ nítorí pé mo ti donílẹ̀ mo ti dalayọ̀ àǹfààní yìí ó pin lógúnjọ́ oṣù táwọn.
one na dey go sef one na body go dey dry for stand upon say bike don scarce or people wey dey bus stop plenty you come wait so tey your appointment don pass make una mind dey coole. Akko-Ride na better option for every corner wey dey Abeokuta as e big reach no fear o anything wey be safety dey assured una ride go dey go siriri. The riders plus the passengers dem get security wey tanda gidigba wey una still dey wait for go download the app on Google Play Store now if no dey waste time oya sharparly join body for the website www.akkoride.ng. No come forget say una go download the app on Google Play Store and iOS. Una security data gidigba. Akko-Ride, our riders dem get identification helmet plus jacket wey get number. Akko-Ride, e dey safe, e dey secure, e still con dey affordable.
àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ gbogbo aláṣeyọrí ayọ̀ aláṣeyọrí classroom and property limited lónìí ọ̀pọ̀ ilẹ̀ wọn ti di wámútìrẹ́ báyìí lórí owó tí kò ga ju ara lọ randa extension hilltop máwùkọ́ àti kọ̀bàpẹ́ 100,000 ní plọ̀tì yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni lóko wọn ti di ọ̀pọ̀ yùkẹ́ mọ́lọ́kẹ̀dẹ̀ 25,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ̀ kọ̀bàpẹ́ alábàtà òṣèlè 30,000 ní plọ̀tì ẹ̀rà plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ẹ̀gbá ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ ékàlẹ́rà òdìdí lẹ́gbàsí pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní tẹ́ẹ̀jẹ̀ lórí ilé oko wọn torí pé àwọn onírà àti onímọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ti wà níkàlẹ̀ láti là ń lọ́yẹ̀ lórí ìkan tẹ́ gbèsè ilé oko tẹ́ bára 4 mọ̀túndì Abiola way Ilego Daily Express furniture ni wọ́n wà ọlọ́ṣogbo Abẹ́òkúta Ògùn State 08033086557 08033086557. lóòótọ́ àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ń bá ń bá wa ná dandan ní kẹ́ láṣeyọrí ayọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa àǹfààní yóò pin lógúnjọ́ oṣù táwa.
bí ojúmọ́ ṣe mọ́ làwọn tó fẹ́ràn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ handset ni wọ́n ń pọ̀ sí i ibi tí wọn ò bá yà sí láti ra ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ló ń ṣe wọ́n lọ́kàn kámi torí wọ́n ń ṣẹ́jú sí wọn lọ́tún ni wọ́n tún ń pè wọ́n lọ́sì ó yẹ ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n ó gbọ́ ká má wulẹ̀ ṣẹ́jú sí oníbàárà mọ́ ọ̀dọ̀ símọ̀ tó ń tẹ ojúlówó ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ ni wọ́n ń bọ̀ àbí ṣẹ́ẹ̀pẹ́ mọ̀ ni símọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ èrè àjẹjù kò tún sí lọ́rọ̀ wọn kì í pààrọ̀ bátìrì tó bá fóònù wá torí àtúntò tà á fẹ́ lómi ìní fọ́lùkọ símọ̀ mà ní àyè san díẹ̀ kó gba fóònù máa wá sanwó tó kù díẹ̀díẹ̀. Ilé ìta fóònù C-Mall ló fi ìyàn lọ́kàn balẹ̀ jùlọ. Ó yá gbé fún C-Mall ní. Torí àǹfààní ń bẹ fún oníbàárà tó bá bá wa ra fóònù lóṣooṣù láti fi ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú ṣèfàjẹ́. Ó lè jẹ́yìn lẹ máa jẹ ẹ̀bùn tó ṣù yìí. Gbogbo ẹ̀gbùgbẹ́ ó dòkè téńté lókè léwó. Bí láfẹ́ wọn bá súnmọ́ ẹ̀yìn. Àdójúkọ First Bank láfẹ́ wa gangan ní C-Mall wà. Ó yẹ pé 08064476837. C-Mall.
ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀pá dé. Wọ́n ní ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ kárí ẹ̀ lórí ìgbọ̀ ọ̀tún. Pàápàá àǹfààní tó gbọ́mọpọ̀ dáadáa. Ilẹ̀ oko mo lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plọ̀tì báyìí. Ẹ ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ ẹ gba ìdajì sí i. Wọ́n sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gba plọ̀tì kan sí i. Ilẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ kọ́bapá alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbà sí i. Ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ ó gbòdìdì kan sí i. Àwọn onírà ti wà ńlẹ̀ láti ra èrè oko yín. 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 08033706236 08033706236. ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀kọ̀ ìgbọ̀tún fáwọn àgbẹ̀. Àǹfààní yóò pin lógúnjọ́ oṣù táwọn.
It's time to close shop on all the radio stations. The king is now in the city.
Thank you.
Welcome to Splash 106.7 FM Abeokuta.
Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
It's a minute past 9 a.m. from Slash 106.7 FM, and you're still very much onto Panorama. Well, we are moving on to the second segment. Before we move on to the second segment, in the first segment, we did talk about religious extremism in Nigeria, and we had Alaran Mushafau Kehinde on the program to make sense of the discussion. But let's go through social media now, social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and also WhatsApp, and see some of your comments there so that we can read them and move on to From the Pages, which is the second segment of the program. Well, this particular one is saying good morning on WhatsApp now. Good morning to the guests and presenters, Oguremi Mariam and Uzo Adizwa. It's disheartening, it's barbaric and inhumane. Though the lady has committed the offense, does that bring the reason for her to be killed in that manner? Our children need to be well informed. Who can fight for Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Jesus? Also, in an environment we find ourselves, we need to adapt to their rules and regulations for peace to reign. Should we continue in this and ask for grace to abound? Is this how we want one Nigeria to come to reality? All that participated in this inhumane act should be arrested, and same to be done to them as it were to Deborah. Also, if care is not taken, this may cause religious war in that axis, because Deborah's parents wouldn't fold their hands and allow her death to go just like that. Sokoto government need to take serious action on this. Sanitarian Akinola Uluwarantimi from Joga, Iboro, Yewa North. From there, let's go to the next comment, quite a lot on WhatsApp. Morning, my name is Ijaola Wali from Oloshun Estate. To me, let's call a spade a spade. The girl killing is an act of criminal, and these culprits must be brought to book. Education is important in the lives of human beings. I mean, education on human relations because of the diversity in tribe, religion, gender, etc. I totally condemn the act. I'm a Muslim. Islam teaches us to be a good example to the Muslims and non-Muslims. Thank you, Ijala, for your contribution this morning, still on WhatsApp. Good morning, everyone in the studio, and more grace to our Imam in the studio. I will only pray God continue to guide us right and improve the knowledge of Muslim who don't know much or anything about the religion they practice. In addition, I call on Muslims to see religious education as an essential part of life. Abdul Kudus from Abeokuta is saying that on Panorama this morning. This one is saying, good morning, Splash FM. I am surprised with the assertions of your guest this morning. Is not doing justice to this topic at all because of his religious beliefs. We are talking about human lives, for God's sake. The young lady was killed because of a religious belief. Would your guest have talked this way if he has been affected by the acts of the Northerners? I still don't understand his justification at all. Balogun from Abeokuta, thank you for your contribution. Moving on to this one, it's quite a long one, but let's see. Severally, we have seen Muslims blaspheme Jesus Christ, and no Christian would go to the extent of killing or maiming these Muslims. Why is it that when a Muslim feels that Allah or Muhammad was blasphemed, you people go on rampage? Why? We Christians believe that a God that cannot fight for himself is no God. Several people have been framed by Muslims to have been blasphemed, all because they air their view. Why are your people like this? Why are they prone to violence? And yet you claim your religion is a religion of peace. This act of these acts can lead to the death of the innocent young kid who does not know who Muhammad was, but speak ignorantly about your God and Muhammad. You people are not accommodating at all. At the instance of little argument, your people flare up. Why are you people like this? Please, the cleric should say something to this. Olajuel, well, he's no longer in the studio. Your guest is just being defensive. Still, Olajuel, what is he saying about Issa Pandam? Why is he vindicating him? Your guest is just here to do damage control, but my take is that you should talk to his people that you cannot be killing people in the name of religion. How many times has he seen Christian or Ifa worship killing people in the name of blasphemy? Your guest is delving into history. That's okay. He said, with what happened to Miss Deborah, I don't think I would ever allow my children to go to the north. They are not tolerating at all. Also, why is it that Dubai and other Islamic nations use religion to develop their nation, but here in Nigeria, especially in the north, it is to kill people? Well, Olajuel, a long one. Okay, so the next one, this one is saying, good morning, Splash FM. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this ugly situation. I have many Muslims as friends, and I must confess that they are wonderful people. These are misguided individuals, even though they are educated. It's high time enlightened scholars start educating this set of people. There is something about Islam that is not being taught rightly. This is so unfortunate. Olajide Olawale Opeyemi from Olonshogo, Bode Olude, Abeokuta. Moving on WhatsApp, good morning, Splash, Juma Mubarak. The issue of blasphemy is one thing the Islamic leader should look into. And this one, good morning, Panorama. My concern is why are Muslims always violent when it comes to religious differentiation. It's fine if you are trying to defend your religious belief, but it shouldn't be through violence and killing, all in the name of fighting for God. Can anyone ever defend God? Or why can't they always let God fight for himself? God created us all to love one another and tolerate ourselves irrespective of our different beliefs. Muslims should take Christians as human beings created by same God that created them, vice versa. We should always see ourselves as sane before God and not some people thinking they are superior to others. I rest here, Jari. Abiola from Adigbe is saying that. Still on WhatsApp, any religion that supports killings in the name of religion cannot be termed religion of peace. That's just the honest truth. Good morning. Oluwatoyin Olawale Ogundare from Abeokuta. And this one is saying, okay, my name is Olakunle from Adedotun. May the peace of Almighty be with you, doctor. Okay. Do you, Uzo and Miriam, know that what she did can cause a full-fledged war, though they shouldn't have taken judgment on their own? Every nation has its rights, which we must all respect. Rarely will you see a Muslim abusing Jesus. Even the judgment on blasphemy may result to death, even if it is reported to the right authorities. After warning comes judgment, and it is a well-known law. Okay, I think I have to stop here. Thank you for your contribution. Good morning, Splash FM. Miriam Uzo. I trust you guys are good. Akinwale from camp. Thank you, we're good. All I can say is it is well with us. I hope we all can still say the same thing if this happened to someone very close to someone close to us. I am shocked that there is no value for human life. Is religion that important or greater than humanity? Also, okay, this is coming from, okay, good morning, Panorama. I'm Peter from Abeokuta, sir. When you heard the case the first time, did you intervene because you said you heard? The second time, I'm sure you must. He said he made inquiry. He called people in Sokoto to ask about the incident just, yesterday. Not that he heard about it the first time, okay? So, please, is it true we fight for God or God fight for us? Finally, Nigerian law is the first and highest, and if we are displeased about anyone, be taken to enforcement agents. Also, for Christians, please, the Bible states clearly, do not judge. It says, go preach the gospel, not to condemn others. Also, please, if we have any issue, religious should be forwarded to law enforcement. We all have territories, court police. We all have a human rights and respect. Don't take law into your hands, okay? This one is saying, good morning to everyone in studio. I appreciate all the guests in the studio for how he handled the subject matter. My question, if Alaji affirms that these Muslim faithfuls who took the law into their hands by killing a blasphemous individual did what is wrong according to the Islamic law, why can't they be apprehended and appropriate penalties meted out to them according to the law to serve as a deterrent to others? Thank you very much. Ayodeji Famogile from Abeokuta. Still on WhatsApp. Good morning, Panorama crew. Do these people killing others for blasphemy against their God do they not have confidence in their God to fight for them, for himself? Because it's becoming recurring. Decima. Akban went on to say, good morning, Panorama crew. Okay, still the same thing. All right. Thank you so much, Akban SS. Good morning, Panoramas. Humanity precedes religion. All religions are man-made. Without apology, religion cannot reform mankind because religion of any kind is slavery. Ahmed Fatai is saying that this morning. However, Mr. Alaran, please, who is this again? Okay. Ijala from Oloshi is saying, Mr. Alaran, please help me to advise youth toward their haste and jungle. Okay, he's not here. He's left already. I wonder how your guests can be comparing the life of a person to the hijab issue in Abeokuta. Why are we like this in this country? Balogun from Abeokuta is saying that top of the morning presenters, the guest has done justice to the topic to the best of my knowledge. Ridwan is saying that this morning. Anu from Kuto is saying, okay, Jumat Mubarak. Thank you, Anu. For adding your name to that. Good morning. Nigeria has three religions, which are Islam, Christianity, and traditions. We have laws in this country, which is freedom of speech, and there is law that if you kill, you shall be killed. Some misled youth tutor by sadists in clothes of religion killed an innocent, all because she expressed joy in her belief. This killing of Christian by the Muslim is so rampant and it is evil. In Islam, it is written that he who kill his brother shall be killed. Don't forget that we are firstborn as human, which makes us all human before we choose religion. How can someone be so evil as to kill a fellow being, either the person is Christian, Muslim, or traditionalist? This killing is getting out of hand, and the perpetrators should be brought to condemnation of their act. They must be made to pay for their action. Nigeria is for all, and everybody has the right to practice their religion publicly without the fear of being killed. Thank you so much for your contribution. And this one is saying, which Nigerians saw Christ or Muhammad? We are just too hypocritical. That is coming from Nicholas. And the last one on WhatsApp, Glory. Good morning. Oh, one just sneaked in. Good morning. It is a condemnable act to have killed the lady because of her utterances. You should know that this is not Islam. Islam means the religion of peace. Extremism is generic, not specific to a certain religion. Disallowing hijab that has no effect on anyone in schools shows that extremism is everywhere. Religious leaders are major stakeholders in these issues, and preaching has to be regulated. I want Nicholas to please research on true Islam and give us his findings. Why are Muslims always violent is a violent statement on its own. Tajuddin from Agbo is saying that a Muslim student was killed in Kwara State during an attack on hijab-wearing students, but the media didn't publicize it to this extent. The summary is that extremism is generic. Well, two messages, just cropped in on WhatsApp.
But I think at this point, let's go into the pages.
Yes, please.
Okay. We look at the Nigerian Tribune this morning. What do you have in front of you, Mariam?
I have Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Okay. Now, this one takes a spotlight from Nigerian Tribune. Alleged blasphemy. Outrage over killing of female student in Sokoto. Police arrest too. Governor meets Can. Sultan Kuka wants perpetrators brought to justice. You can find that on page 5 of Nigerian Tribune. Page 3 on Nigerian Tribune, Hanezi Pandef knocked PDP for throwing presidential ticket open. Page 13 as well on Nigerian Tribune. It's 32 states, 233 LGAs risk flood disasters. Federal government warns INEC to adopt manual electronic transmission of results. Federal government licenses 12 new private universities. A rider to that particular story, varsity is now to decide 30% of curriculum in UC. Keep a date with Destiny on May 29. Bello campaign DG. I'm having fun. Let Nigerians have heart attack. Emefiele. Find that on page 2 of Nigerian Tribune. Page 3 on Nigerian Tribune. I don't know where orders are running to. I'm running to the villa. It's coming from Tinubu. Page 3 of Nigerian Tribune as well. My ambition is to fill gaps left behind by Buhari. That's coming from Kayode Fire Me. Still with the front page on Nigerian Tribune. And this might just be exciting news for students in tertiary institutions. Ngige hopeful of fruitful end to strike as ASU, SANU, NASU, NATS, NLC meets federal government team. And SGF writes ambassadors, heads of parastatals, orders with political ambition to vacate seats. Find that as well on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so now let's move on to Vanguard newspaper. The big story on the front page of Vanguard newspaper this morning, 2023 ministers who failed to resign on their own. That is on page 8. It's got 3 riders. Says those seeking clarification from President wasting time justified 100 million naira for APC expression of interest forms. Notes APC needs money but won't tamper with nation's treasury. Okay, so another story on the front page. 2023, I'm having fun, says Emefiele on page 9. Army nabs 3 soldiers over sale of missing ammunition to bandits on page 6. Afenifere, Ohaneze, Pandef, others blast PDP over open presidential ticket on page 5. As a strike, protesting OAU, UNN students shut down highways in Southeast, Southwest on page 9. Why I want to be Nigeria's president in 2023. That is coming from Saraki. And also, fix problems on insecurity. Sage tells federal government on page 10. Well, it's been a long time. Former Minister Senator Ewuga loses second daughter in plane crash. Quite sad. On page 6. And also, this one is saying Nigeria's oil output drops 13.3% to 1.3 barrels per day on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. And that's all.
Okay. Well, let's start with this one from Nigerian Tribune. And we have with us in the studio Dr. Amos Kolawole. He is a public affairs analyst. Top of the morning to you, Doctor.
Uzo, thanks for having me. It's been a while.
You don't sound so excited. The way you responded, I hope everything is good.
When you look at the happenings, the goings on in the country, you feel dejected. I'm telling you, it's so sad.
I mean, we just have to be hopeful. I'm talking about being hopeful, and it's hopeful of a fruitful end to strike. It's ASU, ASANU, NASU, NAT, NLC, meet Federal Government team. What is your take on it? And I quote, he says, well, we are so hopeful that by next weekend, the unions will see a conclusion of that area, talking about the 2009, agreement, which has been in contention for a very long time.
How hopeful can we be? We're talking about 2009 agreements that has not been implemented up to this moment. 2009 to 2022. How many years ago? So it shows this government is just toying with the future of the Nigerian youth. Let us be specific here. What are the agitations of these university lecturers? It is not just about remuneration. It's about improving the quality of the system. It's about facility that are not made available. It's about the condition of learning. It's about research. And these are fundamental when you talk about education. So it is not, sometimes people get to misinterpret or misconstrue the agitations of these university lecturers. It is not just for themselves. Get to our universities and see the state of equipment, facilities in those schools. You'll be ashamed of being a Nigerian. For some of us who have traveled wide, we have seen things for ourselves in Europe and even in the US. You'll be surprised at the level we still operate in Nigeria. So we keep talking about graduates that are not employable. How do they become employable when they are not well trained? So these are issues. And these issues go beyond remuneration. So if you say we are hopeful, I'm sure it is very likely they will agree to maybe this alternative being offered to IPPS. Maybe they will pay their arrears and all the rest. But these people will still sleep because the conditions under which our students learn the condition is so poor. So we shouldn't be talking about resolution because you can be sure they tell us the government is broke. So at the end of the day, they will call them to the round table to say, look, these are the things we will do. And because they keep telling us the government is broke, the next month, they renege on the agreement. So I do not see, if government wants to hands off education, let them privatize. Because with the way we are going, if we continue public funding that is not even available, we're heading for disaster. The other day we were talking about these Western countries asking children to take aptitude tests or what in English. Mm-hmm. It's a sign that our education system is not trusted. IELTS. We talk about there are offers for PhD holders now in relevant fields to come to the UK to study. Nigeria has been exempted. because they do not trust the quality of education that we get here.
With this strikes even going on.
And with the strikes going on. So at the end of the day, they will resolve maybe issues revolving around finance, and they will leave all the others unattended to. So at the end of the day, I do not see an end to ASUU strike. If government wants to, let them look for a way of public-private partnership. And I think that will settle this problem of incessant strikes.
All right, let's move on to this. It's talking about the 2023. Well, it's the big story on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. 2023 ministers who failed to resign on their own presidency says that. Let me take two paragraphs. The presidency warned yesterday that ministers and other appointees seeking electoral offices in the 2023 elections who failed to abide by the presidential directive to resign their appointments latest Monday were on their own. It also stated that President Muhammadu Buhari would not probe the source of the 100 million aspirants paid to secure nomination forms to contest the presidential elections, inferring that the anti-corruption agencies such as Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, should be allowed to do their jobs. But what's your take on this, especially the second paragraph? He said he's not going to probe, but ICPC should do their job. But we've not heard anything from ICPC about, trying to probe these aspirants, trying to ask questions that how did they get the 100 million for the expression of interest and nomination forms.
I think who owns ICPC? Who owns EFCC? Who appoints their chief executives? These are issues. In a saner climate, non-governmental organizations, independent bodies are left to appoint people in charge of these agencies. But in Nigeria, they are appointed by the president. So if the president is saying, I am not interested, what is he saying? He's clearly telling them it is a no-go area for you. And of course, when you look at it, is the party, is the leader of that party. He gives them direction. So if his party is saying 100 million for presidential aspirants to take, to pick interest of expression of interest form. So he's seated as a leader and is not complaining. So I wonder why sometimes journalists ask questions that should not even be asked in the first place. Because if he had objected to it, they wouldn't have come up with 100 million naira on expression of interest form. So this goes to tell us that these anti-graft agencies are only meant to do the bidding of the one who actually installed them. They are not meant for the people. When you look at the antecedents of the year, look at the number of years Magu spent without being confirmed. And the president insisted that he must be there until the man was eventually, until he disgraced himself out of the place. So for anybody expecting ICPC or EFCC to probe, who funds, see, when I look at situations in Nigeria, I find the whole thing amazing. Nigeria is a state where people don't face what should be faced. We shouldn't be talking about ICPC, EFCC. We should lead them into taking actions. Nigerians should be the ones carrying placards by now, especially the youths who have been disenfranchised. Because how do you expect a youth who has legitimate means of income giving 100 million as extra expression of interest form? Where does he get it? So one would have expected the youth to take action such that it becomes an issue. Citizens to take action, start protesting, let the whole world see that we are not pleased. But at the end of the day, what do you find? You find people say we are contributing. People telling us they are contributing for Jonathan, who sat on our Commonwealth for almost 6 years. They are contributing 100 million. It's so ridiculous, and people are not talking about it.
Well, real quick, also in that particular story, because according to that story, the statement was given by Garba Shehu just yesterday while on a television interview. Now, he did mention as well that APC, the party needs money. That's why they decided to give out the form for 100 million naira. And he said that, well, APC, according to him, he said APC needs money, but the party won't tamper with nation's treasury. And that leads us to this part, this particular question that I want to ask you. And the question is, is the party in power, is it supposed to be managed by the nation or because they are in power? Because according to the statement, but won't tamper with nation's treasury, it's a very big one, which means that if they need, money, they can actually go into the nation's treasury and get money because they are the ruling party.
What have they been doing since? Let nobody deceive us. They loot our treasury, especially when electioneering campaigns start. They are the ones awarding contracts, bogus contracts. So it doesn't need to tell us governments wouldn't dip its hands into the nation's purse to fund elections. They have been doing that, and they will continue to do it. They give contracts to these people. Or how do we explain this 100 million in a Senate client? Don't they fund elections in the US, in the UK? They go to corporate bodies, individuals who have interest in those candidates. They will fund. It is not a wrong thing, but you are sending a wrong signal by asking a nation where a lot of people are already impoverished. People cannot, they're living below the poverty line, and you are saying people should be contributing 100 million. Where did they get it from? So the issue is not about not wanting to dip their hands into the government purse. They have been doing that, and they will keep doing it, whether indirectly or whatever means they employ.
All right,
okay, well, let's look at another story. 32 states, 233 local government areas risk flood disasters, federal government warns. And it does look as though Ogun State isn't exempted from that list, because I recall last month the Ogun State government created IDP camps ahead of imminent flooding. But right now, we also see this inappropriate disposal of refuse, which some can also describe as one of the causes of flooding. And it doesn't seem as though things have changed, despite the fact that people have been encouraged to avoid such practice. So don't you think that this issue of flooding can be averted if people can just follow that particular guideline?
See,
in Ogun State,
you already told the people to take their waste to certain locations with the hope that within 24 hours the agency in charge would have picked everything up. Go to Rwanda, go to major streets in Abeokuta, you will find waste littering major highways. And it's so unfortunate. There was a time you invited the man in charge of Ogun State Waste Management Disposal Board, or what is it called.
Right.
And they said they were working on it. And I had expected that within a week or two, they would have resolved issues surrounding picking up this waste.
Right.
But up until this moment. So if you are saying you want to avert, and the wastes are still there, the ones they have put there for 3-4 weeks are still there, what do they think they will do? They won't bother taking them to the streets again. Wherever they find convenient to dump them, they will dump. And so we just pay lip service to serious issues in Nigeria. I do not know why it's taking us so long to perfect whatever plans we have got. So for me, the government is to blame if at the end of the day we have flooding in Ogun State.
Right. Okay. Let's also touch on this particular one from page 2 of Nigeria Tribune. This one is very funny, but I'm not the one saying this. It's the central bank governor. He says, I'm having fun. Nigerians anxious about my position can have heart attack. Amid controversy of his perceived presidential ambition, the governor of central bank, made that statement. Your 2 cents on this, doctor.
You see, these are issues we shouldn't be talking about. Because there are certain things, the Yorubas will say there are certain things, it is not only when you are a robber or a thief that people see you as behaving despicably. Even in your entrances, somebody who is meant to keep, who is in charge of the nation's treasury, is in charge of sensitive INEC materials. And INEC is now saying, well, they're looking at what happens at the end of the day, since he has gone to court. That if eventually it doesn't go their way, they would have to move sensitive materials out of CBN. And what came to my mind was, if you move it to CBN, where do you take it to? To tell you we are in trouble in this nation. In the first place, this man should have been apolitical. You don't appoint a card-carrying member of a political party as governor of the central bank of the nation. That is happening. At first, he said it was a rumor, but this man went to court in anticipation of his being disqualified. And even when the president was so explicit about it that all political appointees must resign, he still went to the president for clarification. And when he came out and people were asking questions, he said he was having fun. Nigerians should be having heart attack. Let them have heart attack. Somebody who wants to lead us, for God's sake. And that makes me wonder the kind of nation and the kind of people we have entrusted with responsibilities in this nation.
Well, some people would say that asking for Nigerians to have heart attack will reduce, the number of his problems.
His own problem, his personal problems.
The people that he will rule over.
Because that is what he wants. Unfortunately, there is no third force in this nation. We need a third force. They know these two parties are
but generally everywhere, there's, in the U.S., you don't have third force. You only have the Democrats and the Republicans.
We must, this is a special case. We need it in Nigeria if we want to survive. We can do it. Let it start with every one of us.
So
we need it.
How do you see this panning out? To have 9 months to the general election, and the CBN governor, Emefiele, is still in that position. Do you see a situation where this gets resolved, or this will just pan out? This will just last till the election.
It's just few days or weeks to the primary.
At the moment he went to court, one would have expected the president to lay him off that job. I am telling you. that you went to court in the first place should have been enough reason to say, see, you have to go. I didn't know. The president should have told Nigerians, I didn't know he was a card-carrying member of APC.
Is it possible that, Doctor? Okay.
So it's so sad.
Is it possible that the president doesn't know that? I mean, Emefiele is a card-carrying member. Is that a possibility? I don't.
That exists to tell you that it's incredible. Incredible things happen in Nigeria.
Let's move on. Let's move on, Doctor.
All right, let's move on to this particular story coming from Professor Sage. It's been a while, we hear from him. Well, this story on page 10 is that fix problems of insecurity. Sage tells federal government. Chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Sage, yesterday challenged the federal government to tackle insecurity, saying the rate of menace in the country is painting the government in bad light. This came as notable Nigerians, including the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, former governor of the Ogun State, Mr. Segun Oshoba, and others, Chief Segun Oshoba, I beg your pardon, and others yesterday urged leaders to emulate Sage's honesty and courageous lifestyle. So now, Sage is coming out. He's a member, he's even the chairman of the advisory committee against corruption. And he's coming out now to say that, you know what, you need to fix the issue of insecurity. And this is a song that, we've been singing this song for a while. And we are close to election. I remember a couple of months ago, a few months ago, the former INEC chairman, Ataihu Rujega, came out and he said that if care is not taken, if we don't work on this issue of insecurity in the country, we are likely to not have, election come 2023. And also recently somebody advised President Muhammadu Buhari to instead, put in an interim government so that we'll be able to take care of this mess before we conduct another election. What's your take on this issue of insecurity?
You see, when people are advising to take care of insecurity, I wonder, maybe they should right now be preferring solutions, because it looks like our leaders are clueless. They do not know how to go about it. So stop telling him to provide security. Tell him what he can do to ensure safety of life and property.
But since Sage is the chairman of the advisory council, are you sure they've not mentioned it?
Because that shows frustration in the first place. For him, as the chairman of advisory committee, of course, his antecedent anyway. He would say it's a peace of mind anytime. And so that's one thing about him. For him to have said it is an indication that he must have been saying it. But they have refused to use his advice. And that shows we are in a deep mess in this nation. They do not have solution. And it pays them. So for people who think there won't be elections, they must be telling them, deceiving themselves. The less the number of people who came out to vote, the more the opportunity to rig elections. So it pays them for you not to come out because of insecurity, and they do their thing. So they will be happy, they will be smiling. When we feel we are not secured, we are not safe, they will be smiling that, okay, now we can do our thing the way we want.
Okay, now, still talking about the issue of insecurity, just recently, on Wednesday to be precise, the person in charge, the Senate committee in charge, the chairman in charge of the land transport, talking about Honorable Fatai, Senator Fatai Buhari, on Wednesday, he did mention something, talking about the Kaduna-Abuja rail, he mentioned something. He said that he called on Chinese government to come to the aid of Nigeria to rescue those that were kidnapped. According to him, he said, asking them to come and help Nigeria to rescue those people is not a wrong step, Nigeria is taking. He said it's the right step in the right direction because Chinese government, through the CECC, they are making money from Nigeria. So it shouldn't be hard for them to come and help Nigeria to rescue these people. Now, I want... what's your take on this, this move by this senator?
It's a stupid thing to say when you leave your internal security to outsiders. You have shown very clearly how weak you are.
But he said it's because Chinese is making money from Nigeria.
And so what? Doesn't America make money from Nigeria? Doesn't Germany make money from Nigeria? UK makes money from Nigeria. Everybody makes money. Even the fuel that we produce, we take them out to be refined. So even opportunities to make money, we lose. So everybody has seen Nigeria as a veritable avenue to make money. And of course, when you look at China, for most African nations, at the end of the day, they will take over most of our national assets. So maybe it's right to say, preparatory to your coming, to take over our national assets, start implementing that, even with this. I think that is what he's saying.
Yes,
it's so sad.
Let's open up the studio lines. 0817 Miriam. What's your problem?
No, he said in preparation for them coming to take over, then they should come and clean the mess. It's
0817 555 1067. 0817 444 1067. 0817 070 50 50 1067. Talk to us. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Nicholas on the line.
All right, go ahead.
You see, in serious democracies, the offices of the CBN governor, solicitor general, attorney general are supposed to be occupied by men who are above board. The fiscal policy agency of a country cannot be a place for a man to have fun. And that is to show you the level of impunity at the highest level of governance in this country. And it's unfortunate sometimes it appears we are now shocked beyond shockability that when we hear this dangerous statement, it appears normal. On this show of the day, Allah did his best to defend his religion and his faith. But killing people cannot be synonymous to youthful exuberance. Youthful exuberance can lead young men to playing football, to dancing, to running, not bringing matches, kerosene, and lighting a woman on fire, and the people who even help the gods to show themselves on video. The journalist in Sokoto should save that image. Maybe somebody will buy form for that boy. And this is the challenges you have when anybody finds his way to a higher institution. A higher institution is a place where you're supposed to make men and women civilized and regenerated. But when those who want to be monsters, who want to remain in the forest, get admission, this is what you always have. The way Taibo West said, when you take AIDS to the World Cup, you get the result of monkeys. In 2001, in Abuja, people died because Nigeria was to host Miss World. Dickiness Eunice of Redeem was also hacked to death in Cuba. Because she was talking about, then some people will now start comparing other violence in other religions. The case in study now is not about Jesus Christ. It's about some monsters that sniffed life in 2022 in an institution. It should touch our subconscious if we still have...
Wrap up, Nicholas, please.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that killing somebody cannot be related to godliness or holiness anywhere in the world.
Right.
And there's no culture other than being human.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution. 0704 400 1067 0817 555 1067. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, please try to... Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, Tajudin from Magbon.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. On the issue of Godin Emefiele, it's a hard one because I can't imagine calling the people you want to govern, telling them that they should have forgotten what you even said. But then on that same issue, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I'm wrong. I think he was appointed by Jonathan administration. I think it was after Sanusi Lamido, after he was removed from office. I think it was Jonathan administration that appointed him as the CBN governor, and Buhari decided to continue with him. If I'm getting it right, so that means that the political ambition and the likes must have gotten to it must have gotten to him while in office. So although the president Muhammadu Buhari ought to have fired him almost immediately, because I don't think he is the only capable hand that can govern the CBN. Thank you.
0817-555-1067, 0817-444-1067. You can talk to us about the stories we've touched on this morning. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Victor from Adela.
Okay, go on, please.
You know, our resource person, God bless you, have made my day. But I want you to understand that it's high time we stop disturbing ourselves. Those people up there, they don't know what we are facing here. They find all men to do what they need. You see, they will try to subside them. I want you to understand that a man comes to tell us stealing is not corruption, not them. The same wine in different bottles, that is what is on the ground. One day we are talking about Nigeria good boys. A particular man siphoned the money that could have been able to forward. He now goes there under 3 months, then bring him out. In the name of to achieve what they want to achieve, in Nigeria we find that they have got spoiled. Not everything that is corrupt on top, that is corrupt here and done. Some people would have been there under allegedly that they kill somebody.
So you have to wrap up. We have to wrap up now, quickly.
With all due respect.
In 10 seconds.
Yes, with all due respect, Nnamdi Kanu that he has been there, that can unite Nigeria more than they did not release. He's a man that made Nigeria to be rested, they want to release. Let me stop here. Have a nice day.
All right, you too. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. And, well, we've got to go now. Our time is up already on today's edition of Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. Let's say a big thank you to Dr. Amos Kalawale for coming this morning.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. So till Panorama comes your way, Monday next week, God willing, from 8 a.m. to 10. My name is Mariam Ogunremi. Do have a great weekend.
My name is Ozo Wadizo. Stay safe.